You are now tapped in with the Hood Mystic.
You are now tapped in with Hood in the Morning.
I project myself outside of myself and I talk to myself when I'm speaking. I project myself outside of myself and I talk to myself when I'm speaking.
Reporting live from the D is the Hood Mystic, here with another daily energy reading where we combine spirituality, occultism, and astrology. I'm your host, the Hood Mystic. Check me out on my socials, anywhere and everywhere at the Hood Mystic, hoodmystic.com. We got the Substack popping. We got a lot of things popping, big things popping. Shout out to T.I. But yeah, man, here with a video, like I said, the goal is to be consistent with the daily energy readings and just simply referencing the energy that's aligned with the day. Each day is connected to a planet. Each planet is connected to a chakra. We all have 7 endocrine systems, 7 endocrine centers within our body, even if you don't got no legs, no arms, right? So this is how we all understand and understand the world that we live in. by studying the charts, studying ourselves, and staying diligent within our spiritual practices. If you are not consistent within your spiritual practices, it does not matter. It does not matter how much you spend. It doesn't matter what you do. It does not matter if you are not consistent in your spiritual practices. So, some form of meditation, some form of studying, some form of application, some form of ritual every day. When we talk about spirit, we talk about the breath. If you are not breathing at all moments throughout the day, guess what happens? You no longer exist. So, for those who want to be spiritually alive, let's just simply have the conversation. First things first, just want to send a big shout out to you. And since you are here, make sure you like this video, share this video on your socials. If you're new here, please subscribe. Welcome. And these videos aren't necessarily long, but at the same time, they are important for us to tune into the energy. So the best way to tune in and tap into the energy in my content is to take notes if you can. I understand if you're at work. I understand if you're driving and you can't take notes. It's good to listen. But at a certain point, be sure to take the notes. And we have a lot of different places off of YouTube that you can go to capture the information when you are settled down. So, the first thing that I want to talk about before we talk about anything, it'd be a lot going on, but at the same time, we are getting it done. Shout out to y'all for being here. I'm just so excited that y'all here, ready to tap in and get into this information. So, simply, what is today? Today is Monday. Monday is controlled by the moon, meaning that if it wasn't called Monday, like it wouldn't, like if it wasn't connected to the moon, rather, you wouldn't call it Monday. You would call it something else. But this day is explicitly connected to the moon. So, quite naturally, we're just going to study the astrology of the moon. What are the major aspects to the moon today? And of course, how does it affect my chart personally? By this time, if you have been watching my channel for some years, you should be down pat on what sign is connected to what house in your chart. So you should be able to know that you are a ninth house Gemini with the moon and with the moon and Venus and Gemini. You should know this. And if you don't know it, it's good to sit down with your chart, write down what sign is in what house first, then what planets are in those signs, and just have a basic knowledge. What is your ascendant? What is your moon? What is your rising? And are you a fifth house Sagittarius? That should be natural to you. And so, this is the work that we talk about when we're talking about spiritual work. To get this understanding, you don't have to pay a lot of money. You don't have to do a spiritual ceremony, and you can get a lot of breakthroughs in your own personal life if you can begin to understand and understand that I have Neptune in the third house. And I'm just using my chart because I know this like off the top of my hand. And the reality is I forget where my Venus is at. But Venus is in my 12th house. Right? I got Sun in the 11th house. You should just know these things quite naturally. So make sure that when you are not at work, when you are not driving, and you're just sitting around the house, you're not watching Netflix, you're not scrolling on TikTok, you're studying your chart. Can we get a ones in the chat if that makes sense? Shout out you, Marvin. Thank you for joining, man. I appreciate you for rocking with me. I'm on Ra. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for tapping in early. The Initiates, the number one spiritual platform on the whole entire internet. we got a big surprise, so make sure you stay tuned. In reference to the initiates, what we got cooking up, we got something big cooking up as far as the initiates. So shout out to Ra, shout out to AD, shout out to Jabri, shout out to Pascal Beverly Randolph, shout out to Bridget. You feel me? Shout out to the whole spiritual and physical squad. My main man, Sacred Serpent, coming through in the clutch. My guy, Deshay. Peace to you. Peace to you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Deshay says she waiting on these videos like crack. You feel me? I was actually just like first thing that I'm thinking about. You know what I mean? Like I'm on it. You know. Shout out to my guy. I'm not even going to mention his name because he famous, right? I don't want to be here for the clout. You know, I'm not about to. If you famous and you get in a reading, I'm not going to put you out there. Just know that. But shout out to my guy for giving me the inspo to do these daily energy readings again, putting that fire. You know, that's so interesting about the soul. Like, you know, they say like we're candles and we light each other. You know, when you light somebody, you don't never lose your flame. And, you know, this is something that I can't forget. You know, so from here until infinity, you know, got to keep with the consistent spiritual modalities because it is necessary and is needed. The news is going to give you a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week cycle of pure bullshit, right? So why can't I just do an hour a day of spiritual significance and spiritual understanding for the tribe? It all connects, man. So shout out to my guy for inspiring me to do this. You know, I'm excited. Got that energy back, you know, and it feels good. So today is a Monday. Mondays will be called flow days, and let's just bring it all into full understanding. And if you want your own moon journal, the link is in the description. What you don't want to do is get caught up in the actual time because a month is a month. A month is just 28-day cycles from new moon, full moon, back to the original new moon. So it says 2023 on the moon journal, but it's really irrelevant. Like I could change it to 2024 if you want me to, and I will eventually when I get time. But the reality is that if you want a moon journal, the link is in the description. And if you need any help with how to organize it, you know you can email me at hoodmystic@gmail.com. So just to run this down, Sundays are target days where we set our intention for the week. We're not going into Mondays like I hate Mondays. Oh my God, I got to go back to work. We're not going into Mondays like that. We don't have to go through Mondays like that. So basically, we set our intention for the week. And then Monday, we bring it into the moon. We bring it into reality. It's a flow day. It's a sacral chakra day where the guys should really get into some semen retention, not sexual abstinence, right? You can have sex, but hold that sperm. That's actually the only way to do semen retention, if we want to be honest. And women, you know, take some dang quay, right? Female ginseng. Look it up, you know, get into the sexual energy without engaging in the sexual act. Be in the flow of energy. Tuesdays are going to be action days. Wednesdays are connect days where we are operating from our heart chakra. Thursdays are release days and purge days. Fridays are got a big ass truck riding by. One's in the chat if y'all like the outside videos. One's in the chat if y'all like the outside videos. Fridays we're going to be purified days where we center in our third eye chakra. Saturdays we just recharge and reset our intentions, and those are going to be in reference to the crown chakra. Now, I can't do this for you. And if you pay somebody, they're not going to be able to do it for you either. The reality is that you need to be in tune to your own chakras, your own energy, and your own intention in your own body because it's yours. And when it comes to connection, when it comes to what you need, you supply that to other people. So when you're in need of a desperate lover to come knock it out in the midnight hours, you become that, where you texting somebody, you know, that wanna crack at it, and you the one that initiated. You don't sit back and wish and wait. And it can be something as simple as, you know, doing something nice for somebody, where, especially if your Wednesday is just like a regular Wednesday based on if you got to work, whatever. What if you set your Wednesday up to say, all right, I'm going to intentionally do something good for somebody in my heart chakra space and my wanting to connect to others. I'm going to make my favorite dish for my coworkers, you know, just things like that. So if you're intentional about your days, if you're intentional about your chakras, if you're intentional about your energy, you're going to have a better experience down here. But after being in this community for so long and really like going through some cycles within this community, I can come to the understanding and overstanding of what's necessary, which is more or less a consistent, disciplined approach to you. And so, what I'm going to be doing full time is just making sure that I'm available and showing up, and that I also have help and assistance with people who have the same drive and the same inner understanding that spirituality is just a modality of consistency, of understanding and overstanding what your soul is telling you at all times. And you must be intentional day to day to make sure that you're clear from the ego's bullshit. So, with all of that being said, make sure that you are in the flow of the energy, you're tuning into your sexual energy, and you're not feeling depleted from having sex or doing sexual things. Like your sexual energy is charging you to look good, to feel good, and to also be deeply intuitive, because the reality of manifestation is feeling good. And the best way to feel good is at a sexual level. And the only person that controls whether or not you feel good at a sexual level is you. So you have to deal with some emotions, you have to deal with some blockages, you have to deal with some weight problems, weight issues, and get real with that. You know, like get real with your vessel, get real with your sexual attractability, and do something about it. If you're unhappy with yourself, get into the mode of getting over it and doing something about it. So, with that being said, that will bring us into the chart. Yeah, man, I like being outside, and I just like, I remember back in the days, it was this dude, it was this white guy, and I don't remember his name, but it was like a spiritual dude, and he would always be outside. He would do videos every day, and he had like this spiritual system where he'd be like, today is day 349 degrees. But he was dealing with astrology, he was dealing with, like, it was corny, but I was like I was just like imprinted with like, this is what I want to do at a certain point in time. But back in the days, the technology ain't what it is then, what it is now. Shit, now you can do basically anything very simply, and that's due to AI and technology and things of that nature. So shout out to technology, shout out to progression, and shout out for us to be able to do cool things in the name of spiritual development. So, as I stated earlier, today is a Monday, a Moonday. So, we're going to look at the specific sidereal placements of the moon. Throughout the day, the moon is going to be transiting the second decan of Libra. The card that rules that decan is the Three of Swords. And it will also be opposing Mars, which will be in the second decan of Aries. The card that rules that decan is the Three of Wands. So what we have is an energy of integrity and an energy of heartbreak. So first things first, when we're talking about heartbreak, the first consensus that most people feel is that I don't deserve to be cheated on. I don't deserve to be left. I don't deserve to be cheated on business. I don't deserve to be put in a bad situation. I don't deserve to be lied to. I don't deserve none of the negative things that I've experienced. And maybe you don't. But if you carry on with that disposition, it's not going to resolve itself because you're in a space where you didn't deserve it, but you're still in a space where it happened anyway. So at certain levels, we get over the past, but then at other levels, we do not. We deal with the moon and Libra, we're dealing with our deep, unresolved trauma, for lack of better words. And when we deal with the opposition, it's like, how could I transform or alchemize this trauma in a positive way? But let me backtrack. If Mars is in the energy of integrity and the moon is in the energy of heartbreak, then who we truly are, because that's what integrity means, is who you are at a 24-hour level. If you are single, you're probably the type of person that have multiple personalities. You show up one way, but really you act a completely different way. And that person that fell in love with you or liked you, like one version of you, but that other version of you was too much of a split that they couldn't actually they not mentally prepared to deal with multiple people. They want to meet that nice, pleasant person that they met at that first date. If they gave you a chance, you probably showed them a different side, and then they was like, I couldn't actually take it. When you in a relationship, a long-term relationship, a relationship where you can find and build trust in and grow in, you are your unique self. And there is a particular mode, because when you deal with Libra, you're dealing with marriage, you're dealing with partnerships. The reality of marriage and partnerships is that they suck and that they will create trauma in your life. If you've been in a relationship before, how many people have been in more than one relationship? Put a one in the chat if you've been in more than one relationship where you tried once and it failed, but you tried again and maybe it failed, maybe you succeeded, but your first relationship was not a home run. Put a one in the chat if that was a reality for you. Put a one in the chat if you started a relationship and for whatever reason it didn't it didn't go the way you hoped that it would go and the relationship completely ended. Have that ever happened to you before? And I'm gonna override this one because I would just magically put ones in the chat. But since people want to play like they just married their high school sweetheart, let's just keep it there, right? Let's just keep it there. Let's discuss the psychology of heartbreak. Since y'all don't want to take my word for it, let's discuss the psychology of heartbreak. Let's make this very clear. In case there is any doubt, heartbreak sucks. It's an emotional agony, stunned, and bereft. We are all wired for connection to others for our survival. When we are in intimate relationships, our actually begin to co-regulate with each other. Our hormones can line up with our partner. Let's stop right there. Our hormones can line up with our partner. Chakra Nova students, if we are understanding and overstanding our chakras, then we are also understanding our endocrine system. And for those who are new here that don't understand what I'm saying, endocrine system definition. The endocrine system is a complex network of glands and organs. It uses hormones to control and coordinate your body's metabolism, energy level, reproduction, growth, development, response to injury, stress, and mood. And I would add trauma. When we talk about our hormones, now let's pay close attention to this. Can y'all? We're talking about the human body, and you will see a real. If niggas is talking about if the earth is flat or the earth is round, you wasting your time. If niggas still trying to break down the Terrence Howard and Billy Carson, you wasting your time. It's cool to talk about it. It's cool, but at the same time, we got to get to work. Ray J, um, whoever else, Cat Williams, Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, Caitlin Clark. Yeah. But let's get to work. Now, this is the endocrine system. It consists of the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the thymus rather, the pancreas, the adrenal glands, the kidneys, the testes, the ovaries, and the testes and the ovaries. Okay, but wait, there's more, Batman. And if you want to deep dive in this, there is a link in the description for Chakra Nova. Just trying to find a good picture. So if you listening to a nigga saying that chakras are anything outside of the glands in your body, is 129 chakras, is 365 chakras, is all of these chakras, and they can't specifically give you realistic aspects to where the chakras are at, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy, you're wasting your money, because you are the book, you are the most important thing. And it goes back to, how do you feel? How do you process heart? Because the deepest spiritual people still haven't figured this part out. They still haven't got it. It still haven't clicked. What we're talking about is you, and what constitutes you at a spiritual level every single day that you exist and you live in this world, and you're growing spiritually and you're buying houses and you're meeting people, all of these things. But what about you at the deepest spiritual glandular level, right? So let's go back to our article, because everything is spiritual. When you do the spiritual work, When your partner does the spiritual work or your partner doesn't do the spiritual work, your hormones line up with your partner. Now, this article is not going to get into why the relationships end, but the relationship starts and the relationship ends at hormonal balance. And honestly, there's a lot of things that a human being must do at a personal level to stay regulated. Your husband or wife cannot regulate your hormones based upon your mode of meditation, your mode of exercise, your mode of study. They can disrupt and distract you, yes, but at the same time, you still have an opportunity to breathe deeply, tune into yourself, and get to a level where you're actually present in the relationship. When you're not present in the relationship is, oh, you used to love me like you were supposed to love me, and now you're not loving me like you're supposed to. But the whole time, you both were supposed to be loving your soul. When you love your soul, you're relaxing, you're in homeostasis, your heart rate, your breathing rate normalizes. This is very important. Your brain waves sync up. This is very important. When you are on a mission, listen, you have a blueprint within yourself called the DNA, and you are building your life every single day. When you are in a relationship with somebody that is selfish, you're destroying. It's like going to a construction site with a bulldozer. Does that make sense? Now think about how you choose partners based on looks. Does that make sense? Spiritual people do not choose partners based on how they look. Spiritual people choose partners based on how their hormones line up, how their breathing is regulated, and how they sync up. So even though you like somebody and you trick yourself and you fool yourself at a hormonal level, when the relationship is over, it can be traumatic. Let's talk about the rich guy. He got all the money, got the nicest cars, got the nicest house, got all the hoes, but got all the trauma. Because every time the rich guy have sex, he gets married to the girl. And he tells her, I got your Uber outside waiting for you. But he doesn't know that he's destroying himself at a DNA level because his wife is leaving him. The more sex you have, the more marriages you have, the more your energy gets so tied and tied up. And at the energetic level, you lose sight of who God is. So what becomes your God? The money, the girls, the houses, the cars. Real talk. Is the money, cars, houses God? Is it really God? Does it comfort you at night? So this is what we're talking about. Daily trauma based upon culture. That if you're not aware of it, you could get caught in a bind, Nate. And where am I coming from with this? Like I said, for those that are new here, the moon is going to be transiting the second decan of Libra. The card that rules that decan is the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is referencing heartbreak, is representing chaos, the womb of chaos. the darkness, the sadness, the sorrow, which we can all bear witness to, but we all felt like we didn't deserve it. Ones in the chat, I ain't deserve no sadness or heartbreak. I walk in the bathroom and see my girlfriend going down on a dude. I don't feel I deserved that. I experienced it anyway. I ain't about to cry about it on live or nothing like that. Who missed it crying on live over something that happened 10 years ago? See, it's trauma. I still think about it from time to time. I'm still flabbergasted. What did I see in her? What did she see in me? If you wanted to have a boy over there, I could have stayed at home. Was it that serious? But it's like, when you look at it from a perspective that it is a part of development, it is a part of building, it is a natural part of life, it's not so bad. Not so bad. But if you look at it like, I didn't never deserve it, I deserve more, I deserve better, then when niggas keep leaving, coming and going, you're going to be even more depressed. That's like literally depression and suffering when you really think about it. I deserve so much better, but you don't treat yourself better or do nothing that represents that ideology. Because if you knew better, you would do better. One's in the chat if you ever heard that saying before. Saturn, so the card that rules this, if you look close at this card, you have Libra. Libra emoji, if you can bear witness to the Libra sign. Saturn, planet Saturn emoji, if you can bear witness to the Saturn sign. So the third decan is ruled by Saturn and Libra. Okay? So to get a deeper understanding, Saturn applies its discipline and hard lessons on Libra's desire to have relationships, because Libra is the sign of marriage in your chart. Libra rules the 7th house. So the 7th house is your house of relationships, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. So sorrow is a natural event that most people have to go through at some point, whether you deserved it or not, whether it was supposed to happen or not, whether, they shouldn't have never screwed me over and took me money, so now I'm just not going to deal with people. That's an incorrect way to look at it, because Saturn is always going to have a say-so in Libra. The middle energy of Libra, Saturn is always going to be fixed into that energy, so nobody is going to be around the space of sorrow. Now, what do you do with the sorrow matters the most, because you have to balance the scale. Let's even go deeper, because I just kind of, things come to me. Anubis and the scales. Anubis said, is your heart as light as a feather? Meaning that, of course, you went through a lot of heartbreak in your whole life, but how is you processing it? Like real life shit, chat. Tribe, like tribe. Let's really assess this. Like really assess this. How do you actually feel? Where's your heart space at? Is your heart as light as a feather? Or is you taking it to heart that she cheated on you? Is you taking it to heart that, the relationship didn't go as planned? Your high school sweetheart didn't take you to prom. He was with my best friend, hood. My best friend. Like, that means that your heart is lighter than a feather. So what are you going to do about it? Not putting you out there, but just basically showing you how this works in real life. Her Saturn is in Libra in the 7th house. Everything that I just been talking about, and she been married twice. But it all brings her back to a better me. And my advice with that placement is don't take it too seriously. Don't take it to heart too much. Who gives a fuck at the end of the day? That's the best disposition. I don't care what happened. Hood, my best friend though. It didn't work out. It wasn't what it's supposed to be. Who gives a fuck? But it was supposed to be. Who gives a fuck? But it was my dad though. I don't care. But it's my kid. I don't care. It does not matter. Is your heart as light as a feather? Anubis would say. Anubis would say, listen, you don't get to make it. You don't get to cross through the portals. He took my boyfriend to the prom, hood. He took my boyfriend to the prom. He gay. Hood, he gay. They love hitting you with that one. He gay, hood. I got it. He gay, not you. What that got to do with you? He like his booty touch. That don't got nothing to do with you. You sad about it. Anubis gonna say, nope, you can't cross through. He robbed me of everything, stole money out my bank account. Anubis gonna say, nope, can't come through. But I seen him and it was just so horrible and it was just the worst thing ever. Nope, can't come through. They tried to cancel me online, hood. Nope, can't come through. Is your heart as light as a feather would be the question. Bearing that sorrow is a natural event. Libra is also associated with justice, adjustment, so there's a link to sorrow in the universal law of karma and cause and effect. Buddha said all existence is inherently sorrow as we are separated from the Father. So how do we connect back to the Father? If we're talking about the Father, we're talking about order and discipline. Without order and discipline, you do not get to God. Love, comfort, condolences, pity, empathy, scam artist prices do not get you closer to God. Deep spiritual girls, deep spiritual boys do not get you closer to God. Order and discipline, a daily application is the way. That is the way of the Father. So Saturn being in Libra, representing that Anubis energy in Libra, there is an order to releasing. There is an order to letting go. And so since we are chaos beings and we come from chaos, and meaning that we have seen all outcomes before in previous lives. So there's nothing that has happened to us in this life that would be so fundamentally profound. Have you been through a lot and it not really phase you for real? Have you been through a lot of stuff? One's in the chat. If you've been through a lot, you'd be like, man, if it was somebody else, they'll go goddamn crazy. One's in the chat if you've seen some crazy shit in your life. Comment, yeah, I seen some crazy shit in my life if you watching this video post live. Because in this life and previous lives, you get all of the particular variables and probabilities flowing through your blood, flowing through your veins. Saturn is Bana. Bana is the great mother. The mother is who we are at a deep spiritual level. She is the darkness of the great sea. What do we know about the great sea? That they say they explored more of space had the sea. The sea is something that human beings can only sniff out. The deeper, darker recesses or what's really truly happening under the sea is more or less of chaos. You ever been on a dark night ocean in the middle of the night surrounded by nothing but water in a storm? You are completely helpless to the elements. And there's nothing that you can do. You just have to just submit. And basically, that is the message of the chaos energy. When you are experiencing negative situations in your life, in your relationships, it is to bring you into the womb of chaos. A simple way of saying this is who gives a fuck? I am an original being. You're not going to have me trapped down here in some lower vibrational thought form that's going to have me blocked and misunderstanding who I am at a deep spiritual level. If you got drama, save it for your mama. Now, we don't know the definition of chaos because English have taken the root concept of chaos and distorted it. So when we talk about chaos, we have to get into the actual definition of chaos. Chaos is your meditation. Chaos is the ability to let everything go, mind and body, and tune in and tap into your soul. Chaos was the first of the primordial gods. Chaos is a goddess. That's where the Bana and Saturn energy is talking about, the structure of it, because chaos created everything physical. Chaos was here before everything physical. Chaos exists in the air. The air is everywhere, and without the air, we wouldn't be here. So spirit chaos, the same thing, because when we breathe, we're breathing in chaos, but scientists call it air. But before it was called air, it was called chaos. Chaos was the lower atmosphere which surrounds the earth, both air and the gloom of fog and mist. The word chaos means gap or chasm, being the space between heaven and earth. Chaos was the mother and grandmother of the other misty essences, as well as numerous emotion-driving spirits. She was also the goddess of fate, like her daughter Nyx and granddaughters Morai, or death. As the goddess of air, Chaos was also the mother of birds. Now, this is where it gets messed up. Late classical authors redefined chaos, meaning they create a whole definition for chaos, right? That's not actual chaos. So we lose sight of what chaos truly is and who we are at an energetic level. Late classical authors redefined chaos as the chaotic mix of elements which existed in the primordial universe, conflating it with primal mud. The modern English word chaos derives from this. So basically, chaos is the vacant, infinite space which existed according to ancient cosmogonies previous to the creation of the world, and out of which the gods, men, and all things arose. So, so when we are meditating, when we are breathing, we are accessing chaos. And one would say, why is this such a hard concept to grasp? Or what's the purpose of this? Well, when you in your sad and lonely energy and you in your woe is me energy, that shit can take you over, shut you down at a hormonal level. Now you producing cortisol. Let's get back to this article real quick. What happens when your heart breaks? Shout out to Paramore. I hate it when your heart breaks. We got any Paramore fans out there? I hate it when your heart breaks. Y'all ain't hip, man. I don't be listening to good music. Y'all be listening to Gucci Mane. Research has shown that our brains and heartbreak react similar to when people experience withdrawals from addictions, such as nicotine or cocaine. The feel-good hormones of dopamine and oxytocin, which are generated when we are loved up, and drop sharply when the stress hormone cortisol is taking their place. Too much cortisol for too long can contribute to feelings of anxiety, nausea, as well as acne and weight gain. So 10 times out of 10, you ain't really seeing a happy fat person. You probably seeing somebody who has not gotten over their pain and they sitting in their pain and they haven't figured out they have to do alchemy on that pain. They have to stop giving a fuck about that pain. Oh yeah, you know such and such died. Fill in the blank. And you be like, I know, I can see. It's looking like you doing the same thing. There's even a medical condition called Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, which relates to the physical stress caused by a heartbreaking situation. Now, Takotsubo cardiomyopathy is an ECG that they electrical test that they take on your heart when you've experienced a heartbreak and your heartbeat is different. This condition involves the left ventricle of the heart being stunned or paralyzed, bringing on heart attack like symptoms. Thankfully, the condition doesn't cause permanent damage, but when I talk to people, I would beg to differ. Nah, you can't. Maybe their heart is beating the same, but they haven't come up with a solution. What is chaos? Specifically, tapping into the vacant, infinite space. And yesterday, we talked about sacrifice. And when we found sacrifice, we found the word sacred. And in the word sacred is hallowed. Hallowed. Infinite space. So we're talking about the pituitary and crown chakra being empty, the mind being empty, the heart being empty, not filled with experiences, deep breaths, meditation, tuning in to the chaos, or your mother and father, the thing that have created all gods, men, and things. This is the truth. You don't have to pay money for this. You don't have to take a class for this. This is the God's honest truth that if you just simply tune in and tap into yourself, you're going to get some connections and downloads. So I want to look at this chart again. We have Mars in Aries, and we have a Libra moon. Mars is basically the phallus, and the moon is basically the womb. This is a truth. This is a reality, but you can have some consciousness behind it. When we talk about truths and realities, you probably done hooked up and connected with a little boy a time or two. But when we look at this from an energetic level or a spiritual level, I want us to do some reflection in our flow, do some reflection in our understanding and overstanding of who we are and what we plan to become in the future. So, the concept that arouses within me when I look at the phallic energy and I look at the lunar energy of the moon is the concept of Pandora's box. Pandora, Pan is all, Dora, giving. The box is the womb, which life comes from the womb, ideas come from the womb. And when you have a good woman in your life, good feelings come from the womb. A strong support system, somebody that is like tuned in and tapped into your needs and understands the blueprint, and y'all share the same blueprint, and she operates on the feeling base, you operate on a feeling base, and this is like tuned in and tapped into, ingrained to like, okay, the masculine leads and the feminine nurtures. You can't, as any man, you can buy somebody, you can hire a cleaner, hire a cook, get a sex worker. You can hire all of these people. But when we're talking about energetic DNA, you can't buy a supportive Libra moon. Mars in Aries is the masculine, is the leader, is the person that is on a mission from start to finish, and he needs that support. And this could be metaphysical or it could be real life. How do you truly, and what I mean, because to explain, if you want to move in life and you say, when I get over this relationship, I'll feel better. When I get this job, I'll feel better. When I do this thing, I feel better. You're never going to feel better. You must feel better first. Because Anubis have already said, if your heart is not light in a feather, you can't cross through. So how you feel within your relationship is a choice. How you feel about your past is a choice. You have the choice to get over it and say, fuck it, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to do the healing work, the journaling work to clear and purify it and let it go and stay in my flow. Or you can choose to let it consume your whole entire day, your whole entire mind space. You figuring out what you did wrong, what she did wrong. How could you be so stupid? But when you actually develop a spiritual modality for yourself, it's so easy. It's so very easy to just tune in and tap into yourself and just be guided and moved regardless of what happened. All of the girls that I felt like I had to, find some type of resolve through and, get some closure. I don't give a fuck about none of that because my heart is as light as a feather. But what are you going to do? At a metaphysical level, what is your action plan? Now that you've written out all of your intentions in the Great Awakening article, link is in the description. You came up with a 5-year plan, 5-year spiritual understanding or understanding like it's going to be, but what are the behaviors and actions that's going to help you get there? Are you up early? Like, my goal is to be deeply consistent, but also get help so I don't get burnt out. develop a schedule with the school, develop a whole understanding and overstanding with the tribe, and just move accordingly because I realize what I need to do. I need to show up every day and be consistent and be relied upon. That's easy for me to do, but when it comes to spiritual modalities, that's what's necessary. And if you're not consistent with your spirituality, that's like you taking days off from breathing. Yeah, I haven't really been on my spiritual stuff that much. That's like, man, I haven't been even breathing that much. Everything is breathing. Like, you can breathe. You don't actually have to breathe, hood. I've been reading this book about breathing, and it's like, see, if we understand that spiritual development is real and it need to be applied on a daily basis, meditation, yoga, exercise, techniques, study, these things aren't something that you can just put off and get back to when you got the time. Only at that point where you begin to get it. So it makes a lot of sense to me, but we already created and set up the institutions. Matter of fact, before we go any further, link is in the description, man. The mystery school is popping. It's basically a social media app, but a school at the same time. And we're going to be adding schools. If you're trying to teach and make some money, let me know. Got to be official though. We can do live classes. We can do evergreen classes, meaning that you could record a course and it just be on repeat. We can have Q&As. There's a lot of things. I just uploaded the root chakra lecture. So if you want to tap in and tune into that, and it's going to be like whenever we get downtown, I'm going to be uploading courses. Like really, I'm just uploading the sacral chakra course, and then we're going to like gear up for the solar plexus course, and we'll be marketing that, promoting that, whatever. Then we're going to go through each chakra. We're going to do some blue magic. We're going to do some yoga. I got AD, debris, sacred. So if they formulate in courses, cool. We'll be promoting that. And if we get any new masters, right? Because y'all all masters, y'all all have been cultivating spiritual skills for multiple lifetimes. And it's time to share, right? It's time to teach. It's time to be in this space where you're in a space where you're able to grow and connect with other people. It's free to join the mystery school. The benefits is that you'll be in a social media hub where, like, if you're from just Detroit, basically, you'll find all the people that's in the mystery school that's in Detroit. Or if you're in Alabama, or if you don't even want people to know where you're at. But from my understanding, when people are spiritually developed, they always like, it just ain't nobody around Baltimore that's really spiritual. It ain't nobody in Dallas that's spiritual. It's like I'm the only spiritual person in the whole entire city. I don't go nowhere. So yeah, check us out, man. Check us out. So yeah, one last thing that I want to talk about before we get out of here, and that is Pandora's box. And when it comes to heartbreak, when it comes to understanding what we can actually do, Make sure that you're taking some time to realize some things about yourself. So, what is Pandora? Pandora is all gifted. What are we all gifted with? A mind and a soul. The mind and the soul is like a treasure house of riches and fine jewels. Your riches and fine jewels is the wisdom, virtue, and bliss. Bliss is the sacral chakra. Wisdom is the crown chakra. Virtue is the solar plexus chakra. You have all of these things. You have wisdom if you're able to activate yourself enough to tune into the consciousness that exists within yourself. And you don't get there without meditating. You don't have to be alone. You don't have to be sad. You don't have to feel like somebody did you wrong. You can more or less forgive yourself, forgive the other person, and be in bliss tonight. Your baby daddy for sure. One's in the chat if your baby daddy will come through tonight if you called him. What up, big head? Come through. I mean, y'all got kids together. I ain't saying like y'all got kids together, so it might be a win. You know what you would say? Nah, hood, but he cheated on me with my sister. Hood, he cheated on me with my sister. How could I ever take him back? Knowing damn well you need to be linked up with your goddamn baby daddy. Y'all both is single. And wouldn't little Ron be so happy if his mom and dad got together again? Wouldn't little Ron, I wouldn't be happy. It's all about happiness, hood. What about my happiness, hood? So I'm going back and forth, but I'm just going off shit that's in my mind. If you join the mystery school, man, post, man. Post, keep it active. The thing about a social media is that it's active as long as the people is active. Don't treat it like the IG and Facebook. Don't be lurking on the damn mystery school. Post, hey, my name is Shaniqua. Hi, y'all. I'm out of Dallas. Just out. What is you into? I'm just not, is you a beginner? Is you advanced? Like, what is your intentions? What is your goals? What techniques do you know? What techniques is you trying to learn? It can be a whole incubation system of people connecting with real information because everybody on goddamn IG is bots, Facebook bots. Any bot activity in a mystery school, I have the authority to boot your ass. So no spamming, no scamming, and no slamming. What I mean by slamming is leave these girls alone, bruh. They here for spiritual development, not for cock. However, when we stray from the path of humility and holiness and instead allow our thinking to be dominated by ruminations about the future, will I find somebody? About the past, he should have never cheated on me. I don't deserve to be cheated on. We unleash a myriad of woes in the form of intrusive thoughts and negative emotions. That's Pandora's box. And it all started from you getting some box from a girl named Pandora. Now you looking silly with intrusive thoughts and negative emotions. And now Anubis is saying you can't cross through. Now you just stuck. Stick with me, man. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to go through each day, each chakra, each understanding and overstanding, and dealing with the astrology. Today we talked about Mars. Tomorrow we're going to talk about more Mars, but Mars tomorrow won't be opposed to Moon. It will have different aspects that we'll talk about. But when we actually go through each day and each astrology, understand that is needed. We should be disciplined when it comes to spirituality. They discipline when they building a building in your neighborhood. They discipline when they doing anything practical. So when we trying to understand spirituality, it should be practical as well. So with all of this being said, man, utilize the links in the description. Everything that I said, I made sure to leave a link, whether it's the Moon Journal, Great Awakening article, joining the Mystery School, White Rabbit Psychedelics, Book of Reading, Columbian Exchange, all of those things you can find at hoodmystic.com. So with all that being said, man, this has been today's edition of the Daily Energy Reading. I've been your host, Kyrie, the Hood Mystic Anthony, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about Mars, talking about some aspects, and giving daily solutions. Be sure to meditate, masturbate, and mediate the energies, okay? You don't necessarily have to masturbate, but get into some form of sexual energy within yourself. Feel good within yourself at a sexual level, and you don't need no catalyst. You shouldn't have to watch porn to be aroused, right? You should just be into your own energy. And the easy way is if you did root locks or watch yesterday's video where we dealt with the root chakra and we were doing the root locks to activate it. When you strengthen your pelvic floor, you are bringing blood and energy to your penis and your vagina. So even that is sexual energy with no external catalyst or no external stimulus. You are stimulating your sexual energy unto yourself, and that is chaos. That is the infinite space that you can garner within yourself. So I pray that you raise Kundalini and have the experience, eat the food, and not be out here reading the menu. Share this video to somebody that you think may need it. Like the video if you haven't liked it already, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. I'm the Hood Mystic, and this has been another episode of the Daily Energy Reading. Thank y'all for rocking out with me, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.
Your favorite astrologer's favorite astrologer. Your favorite mystic's favorite mystic. You are traveling with the Hood Mystic. You are now tapped in with the Hood Mystic.